prehistory. So you look at the mound builders, that empire existed before written records. How is that possible? How do you have an empire? How do you have infrastructure without written language? So you have mound builders, which is an ancient prehistoric people existing before the invention of writing systems. That's what prehistoric means. It means you predate the invention of writing systems. All writing system as we know it. What's history? History is the study of events that have been written. You see it? You see that? Prehistory. So you look at the mound builders. So what's key to understand is that these mound builders existed before history, written record, and before the antediluvian.
London or Rome, they were metropolises. Archaeologists say they have found evidence of 200,000 actual cities of mound-like structures all across North America that were here long before Columbus.
How could I trust you? Okay, niggas ain't loyal. Niggas ain't loyal. I'm bad like milk. Niggas went spoil. Pitch me rolling like Tupac.
You use the word Aborigines, talking about African Americans.
You know, I've dealt with that issue. I've already, talked publicly about that.
All right, so this is this book. So this is.
Shapely and dressed in their finery. Their hair was braided, and they had white and blue conch shells in their hair that hung like locks and around their neck. And then they had wrapped around their body a match coat, which was red and blue, which is a shawl, that fitted loosely about their body, that their mahogany skin shone through. Then he went on to say that these.
So who were these prehistoric people? Who was this prehistoric empire that existed here in America long before the writings of the ancient Sumerians or the script in Egypt, 3200, 3500. This is Louisa, Walter Nevis.
The cast was then given to Richard Neve of the University of Manchester.
After Walter Nevis researched to find out that the skull was a mongoloid, they
Aborigines, which means what? Black folks.
So one of the things with the skull, what they found was that it was the phenotype.
Be back in the cell any day, man. Outside, nigga playing.
St. Patrick's Day, look at the Twa, the pygmy, and one of the most interesting things about this skull is that St. Patrick's Day, look at the Twa, the pygmy, and look at Louisa, which is the oldest anthropological skull found. This is Louisa. She is the oldest anthropological skull found. Grito people and this genetic trait. Right? And you look at Sarah Bartman and all that, right? And you understand this genetic trait. There's a reason why. Clear. We could clearly see here the genetic trait of the Diagapia from the pygmies, the Coatians, and the Andamanese genetic trait of the tissue being, so, drop down, you know what I'm saying? It says, it's common among the Coatian people, Stigapia, right? It says the Andamanese in the Andaman Islands of the Indian Ocean as well. So that you can, let's look at some history regarding this. It says Stigopia is a generic characteristic. So this is genetics, like I'm saying. So when you look at the Negrito tribe, and you look at this genetic inheritance of fat asses of our women. Understand the term nigga originally is a term for God. So when you look at the netter, the metu netter, or the metu neger, Niger, Negrito is referring to God. So the Ethiopians have a term as well. And so Nigus, Nagas, or Nigus to the Ethiopians means a ruler or the supreme ruler, right? So how did that get changed? So Niger, right, which is where Negro comes from. So we look at these Negrito, the Negrito tribe from the Philippines all the way to India. You see these people being labeled Niger, Negro, Negritos, right? So you got Neger, right? Which is a Greek word, which can mean black or Christian. But right here it says it's a dark-skinned person of any origin, reference to American Indians, the Greek term. You gotta understand why they made our form of worship demonic was because it cultivated our societies. Our rituals and dance around certain times and seasons is what kept us flourishing, what kept our trade, kept our crops from. In order to keep us from functioning as a nation, they made our arts and culture, how we civilized and cultivated our civilizations, demonic, and made us transition into this new form of worship, idolatry of the sun, and their teachings and understanding to the Catholic Church. So the infiltration through the Catholic Church was to take this understanding of nature and our dependency on nature, which was our gods, right? And to make it demonic and create this religion through the sun worship. So it was the heathen, right, that enforced these things upon us, right? That demonized our understanding and our ability to observe, to be self-sufficient, right? To make us dependent on their religions to cultivate and provide. This is why they feel the rising of the sun, the rising of the God, the resurrection of the God. Why they don't want you to be in your proper person. Because if you operate in your proper person as God, if I ruled the world, I free all my sons. Understand, when the sun would go in the underworld, it was supposed to be freeing those in the underworld from sin, from their childlike. So this is why you find people representing their gods with black paint and painting their gods black, because black represented death, the judgment by the rulers of. You look at the temples where they were doing these sacrifices of humans. Understand, judgment of death by the sons, right? For those that have sinned under the sun, under sin. Understand, it was men under the title of God doing judgment, bringing death, darkness under the sun, stoning people for breaking. So understand, when we look at death and judgment and you go to court and you look at the judge, that is God. Understand, magistrates, judges are all under the title of God. Understand baseball and understand the mound builders, the prehistoric empire, and Astros, astrology, and the gods, the elder judges, right? The star, Easter, the Son of God, rise up and judge, do judgment. Understand the Maccabees, right? When you understand the Maccabees and the hammer, and the Southern Cross, and America, and America's favorite pastime, baseball, and the symbolism with the judges, when we look at the gods, and we understand Muth means dead, right? More, mortician. Understand more in blackness and death and hates, the head and the gravel, right? The mallet, the hammer. Understand who you are, Judge El God, rise up. And redeem. Understand why they do the tomahawk. Understand you're the judges. Understand you need to bring judgment. You bring these commandments as universal law that was given. Right? A nation of priests, a priesthood, royal priesthood is trying to rise up.